Everyone must have heard about this movie at least once. It is a movie in which Song Joong-ki is the main character. Yes, it's Sunil we call space sweepers. After watching this movie, I could not help but be convinced that if environmental destruction continued, the universe would become like this. So today, let us talk about the space debris problem. For 60 years, humans have been launching things into space, causing a problem, space junk. If we don't act quickly on this, things will get confused. Some 60 years later, about 5,850 satellites are in orbit in more than 40 countries. According to the most recent estimates, about 5,000 of these satellites remain in orbit. However, only about 1,950 of satellites are functional and the rest become space junk. This is now defunct. Contain thousands of pieces of debris are currently referred to as space junk. Then, what is space junk? Space junk is a general term for pieces of debris are currently floating in Earth orbit. Today, several national space agencies are sending satellites to orbit and also even crewed mission into orbit. In this picture, the man who's standing in this place is Neil Armstrong in 1969, July 20, with Apollo 11. He said, "This is a step for a human being, but a great leap for mankind." Space exploration was once the two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, but now China, India, and European Union are actively involved. But now the current situation in the orbit of space debris is currently likely to get worse. So, what do space companies need to do to clean Earth orbit? Numerous technologies have been proposed to remove or destroy space debris. Most of these are still at the R&D stage, and the rest remain theoretical. A widely used concept is to send a remote control to spacecraft and call it with debris, lastly deorbit and burn up in the Earth atmosphere. More simply, retreat and solar paint fails and subsequent breakup and lastly major breakup. Several concepts have been explored by NASA and ESA and with the other space agencies. Nowadays, NASA, in collaboration with Vestigo Aerospace, and once attached, this says increase atmosphere drags and allowing objects to the Earth atmosphere sooner than expected. So, the European Commission 2020 Horizon FET, Future and Emerging Technology Program, developed and to increase the systems that allow satellites to orbit themselves, and this is known the ET electrodynamic theater technology. And when it does not work, it is designed to descend to a low altitude and until it burns from the Earth atmosphere. These are the small satellites of the sails, nets, and harpoons, lastly lasers. These are the ones that can respond to serious problems that will be seen in the next few years. So, how does space debris affect us? This is because it can pose a great danger to settable satellites, to the orbit of spacecraft satellites, and is divided according to the atmosphere. We say 250 to 2,000 kilometers, we say low orbit, and 2,000 to 3,005,786 kilometers, it's medium orbit. And lastly, 3,008,5,786 kilometers, we say high orbit and also geostationary orbit. The lower the satellite's orbit around the Earth's surface and the faster it travels. About 70% of the space debris is collected from the low orbit. The Ministry of Science and ICT have announced a press release in 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter. It has 128 million, and 1 to 10 centimeter it has 900,000, and lastly, in more than 10 centimeter it has 34,000. And also, a working satellite 2,300 number of rocket launched since in 1957. It has 5,560. Satellites placed in orbit 9,600. Satellites currently remain in space 5,500. And lastly, the total mass of space junk in Earth orbit is 8,800 tons. The circumference of the Earth is about 40,000 kilometers, and it is like going around the Earth once an hour. In this picture, 1957 is definitely clear. In 1992, it's a little bit getting messy. And lastly, in 2015, it's getting really worse. If this situation continues, in 2029, the situation of 57,000 satellites planned and through. So, if destruction of space environment will continue and our civilization will retreat. So, we need to reflect our theoretical part into reality. Thank you.